the Next Gen Real Estate Podcast. It's our very first episode and we're so excited that you're here. And our first episode is featuring my very favorite person, my husband, Eric. Thanks for being here today.
Hey, thanks.
All right, so we are here in our remodel in Oak Forest. This is going to be a future investment property of ours. And I thought we'd give you a behind the scenes sneak peek into all the things real estate investing, and who better to do it with than our property manager, Eric. So thanks for being here. We're gonna dive in, and do you wanna just tell us a little bit about the Health Women's Group of Home Smart Realty, and then also what you do as a property manager?
For sure, yeah. So good to be here, excited to bring you guys in on what we're doing. We are sitting in our kitchen right now that I just finished putting the cabinet pulls in for yesterday for this episode. So really excited. This is one of my favorite projects I've done so far. What the Health Women's Group does is we help people find a place to live, rent, whether they're selling, whether they're buying, whether they're renting. And also what I'm tasked with is all of what you're seeing around us right now. So all the remodeling, that's what I'm doing mainly. She's handling a lot of the real estate sales. And so I am licensed as well in real estate, so I can kind of fill in if I need to, but that's what we do.
And he's also a licensed residential contractor now. So yes, he is our property manager for our property group. I named our property group before we got together, so.
Yeah, so every time I go into Home Depot and I make an order, they're like, oh, I love your name, Landlady Properties.
That's our business
And they
name.
see some dude with a beard come in, he's like, you own Landlady Properties? I'm like, I do own this business.
So hey,
yeah.
if you have any new LLC names for our real estate investing business, feel free to drop them in the comments below.
Right, guys, they come in with Burly Beard Property Management Group or whatever, and I have the most feminine name in our.
Should have married me sooner.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
All right, but we're here to talk all things real estate investing for anyone that's thinking about becoming a real estate investor or just wants to see how we make money off of being real estate investors. This is the episode for you. So just Eric, to start, what drew you into being a real estate investor?
Yeah, drawing me in is the right way to say how I got here. If you asked me years ago if I would be doing this, I would say no, because I don't have any experience. I never took a wood shop class. I was never handy. I didn't grow up doing things with my hands, building things. The only thing I grew up doing was playing with Legos and enjoying that. And now I am remodeling properties. So I never thought I would be here, really. So I fell into this, really. The first house that we bought, when we got married, we moved into that house, it needed a ton of work. It was the exact right type of property for what we were looking for. It was close to family. It was right down the street from your sister's house. It was 5 minutes away from my dad's, from your parents. It was the perfect home. It needed a ton of work.
Yeah.
So I learned all on that property, and that I carried on to all of the remodeling projects that I've done since then. So that was we've been married 2.5 years, 2.5 years.
Absolutely. How many houses do we own now?
7.
Yeah, we're up to 7. So I think this has been our largest remodel to date by far. How did you think that you'd be able to accomplish something like this? I mean, we're not done yet, but how did you get the confidence to, muster up the strength to do this?
Yeah, so confidence comes through competence, from learning every single day on the job. There are times that I get stressed here because it's maybe something I've never done before and I have to take a step back. But I think I'm learning quickly, and I have patience with myself enough to say, okay, I'd rather get the job done right. Also, if you do it wrong, there's a lot of things that you can undo and redo. So as long as you're patient with what you're doing every single day, and then you can successfully do a project, like for example, painting, right? This is probably the best paint job I've done so far. I hope the camera can pick it up. And I've done really, really bad paint jobs, and I've done kind of medium tier paint jobs. And this time I really tried to do a decent finish, and I think it turned out well. And that comes because I've done it multiple times. And I think anybody who's ever learning a new skill, or you're going to school to learn something, or you're taking a test or anything, you learn from doing. And I've just had the opportunity here to learn by doing. And that's how I gained the confidence here.
Yeah, so how have you learned how to do all of this when you didn't go to school for this? You went to school for marketing. It has nothing to do with real estate investing.
Nothing to do with any of this stuff. This is all from YouTube videos and from AI. So I've learned, I've really been on the forefront of the large language learning models that we're seeing today. So specifically ChatGPT. That came out like a year ago, and I discovered very quickly that that could be used for remodeling. And any project you could ever think of, somebody has done it online in some way, shape, or form. So I have learned everything, how to do everything, and how to try to make things look professionally on YouTube, right? Because generally speaking, a lot of what you're seeing around you is common sense, right? If flooring is installed by clicking two pieces together, you can click two pieces together and put flooring in, but are you gonna get that professional result? Probably not. So for me, learning how to not just do things, but get a professional result and to make it look like it was done by a professional has all been from YouTube videos. So everything I've done is self-taught here with a lot of patience, a lot of research, a lot of YouTube videos, and making sure I'm adhering to building codes.
Absolutely. What has been one of your favorite remodels to date?
This one would probably be my favorite. Yeah, this one would be my favorite that we're doing right now, just because it's everything. We tore out the flooring, we tore out drywall, we tore out 2 bathrooms, we tore out the kitchen, we tore out walls, we tore out doors. So everything was a fresh slate. And from like really challenging things, like how do we remove an odor that somebody had smoked in a bedroom.
It smelled really bad, guys.
Yeah, it smelled terrible. And I put like 5 coats of paint out, and finally it went away. To doing really fun cosmetic things like hanging cabinets, finding new suppliers, trying out new suppliers, trying to do things kind of like in a more inexpensive way, but also adhering to good quality standards here. This has been my favorite just because of the transformation, right? Even stuff that you can't see. So like going in the attic and putting up a little bit, new insulation, doing things like the deck out there. I didn't do it, I have had to hire a couple of things out, but the majority of things that you're seeing around here has been done by me, so. Yeah.
That kind of leads me to my next question is, how do you hire a good contractor?
Yeah.
And you've gotten that method of like, you can only have 1 of 3 bangs. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so when it comes to hiring somebody for a job, I would actually say before you hire somebody for a job, you should look up what they're doing on YouTube and see what it actually is that the project requires, right? For example, I want to have somebody go out and do the deck or do drywall or whatever. Like I've hired those things out because I know what they take and I know how much work is involved and I know that my time is better spent somewhere else. But that's more for the real estate investing side. If you're a homeowner and you're trying to hire somebody for a project, I always think that you can only get 3 things. You can either get, and it's like almost like a triangle if you picture a triangle. And you can only choose 2 of the 3 parts of the triangle. And the triangle is speed, so how fast could a job get done, price, how expensive a job is, and how good a job could be. So you have to choose cheap, fast, or good. You can only get 2 normally, right? You can't get all 3. If you want to get all 3, you're gonna have to do it yourself, right? So
it might not be good if you do it all yourself
exactly.
and you're not used to doing it. So.
Right, so examples are, you could probably find a contractor that could do it for you fast and do a good job, but he's not gonna be cheap, right? You could probably find a contractor that can do it for cheap and do a good job, but they're not gonna be fast. So you have to kind of think of that triangle in your mind when you're hiring somebody. Very few people you're gonna find can have all 3. And when you find contractors that have all 3, those are the ones that you really wanna invest in, build a relationship with. Don't make them mad, pay them on time, right? Because those are people you really want to keep with you from project to project. Whether you're a homeowner, real estate investor, really critical, make sure that you can understand that that is just the way the world works. Not everybody can be perfect.
For sure. And hey, if you're local and you're seeing this video and you're ever looking to hire a contractor, just know you can reach out to us because we own 7 homes. We have 7 times the problems, which means that we probably have 7 times the contractors to fix them. So if you do need a referral to a contractor, feel free to DM us, comment below. We'd be happy to refer you to who we personally use to do subcontracting on our properties that we trust and trust upon, and they do good work. So now, Eric, something that you mentioned earlier when I asked you the question about building confidence was that you've learned things from house to house to house. I think a lot of people might see this video and go, how in the world did you, have enough confidence to fully remodel a home? I think something that a lot of people don't see is that you didn't just, jump into real estate investing and buy a house that totally needed to be flipped per se, and fully remodeled and gutted. I bought my first property when I was 21 years old, when we were first dating. I didn't really ask too much of your help then, but then on house number 2.
You wouldn't have got my help because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah. Some people would have strategically hired a guy that was working in the trades, but
they would have married a guy who was a union guy, and that's not me.
That's not who I married, but now you know how to do it all. You're a jack of all trades. So then we moved on to house number 2. I asked for a little bit more of your help there, I think. We tried installing a ceiling fan.
It took like 3 hours.
And it took,
actually, I don't think we even did it.
I think it took 3 hours and it still didn't get done.
Yeah.
And then after that, our next house that we purchased was the house that we lived in when we got married.
Yep.
And that was the house that needed everything, basically, not everything. It needed a few things in every room to be fixed.
Right.
And so you gain confidence through YouTube videos and stuff on how to install ceiling fans and what are some other things we did there while we lived there?
Trim was a big one.
Yeah. Oh, drywall. Dusty came and taught you how to do drywall.
Yeah.
In trim, that was a huge deal.
Yeah, plumbing, doing water heaters, painting, light electrical work, just swapping out outlets. Right. We took down the deck out there. Just a lot of little things. We did a screen door over there as well. We've done outside doors, inside doors.
Right. A lot of different things where we were living in the house. We weren't against a timeline as much as we are when we're working on a rental property between tenants. So you had the ability to take your time to learn things. So if you're thinking about becoming a real estate investor one day and you don't own your first home yet, it might be wise to maybe think about something that needs to be cosmetically updated. Yeah. So that way you can gain some confidence that you can then apply to a real estate investment portfolio later on. And then your leap of faith project, I think, was when you did the full bathroom remodel about a year ago now on house number 2. You want to talk about that a little bit? Yeah,
so I'll first talk about what you said before, because you said some good stuff. That was the way I kind of stepped into the world of remodeling and property management. The stuff that you're seeing now and I recommend this to people who, I've help them buy houses. If they want to get into real estate investing, instead of jumping into a rental, I recommend to do what we did, which is just to buy a house that needs some cosmetic work, right? Now, our house needed a little bit more than cosmetic work, and some things we knew, some things we didn't know, and you learn as you go. But if you walk into a property, you've never been a homeowner before, if you're young or whatever, buy a house that just needs carpet, paint, flooring replacements, things like that look minor. But the major things are good. The roof, the electrical, the HVAC, those things that are crazy high ticket items. Those are kind of, not super old, not relatively new. Maybe it's kind of somewhere in the middle, because then you can start to learn how to paint, right? Which is like the first thing that increases the most amount of equity in your home, is to have a nice fresh coat of paint around your property. So yeah, buying a home that needs a little bit of cosmetic work, that's the really easy way to get into this. And then the second thing, which is the bathroom remodel that you're talking about, I think once you can get to the point where you can remodel a bathroom or a kitchen or anything like that, that's you kind of know you're getting to that next level with your knowledge and your skills, because you are mixing, depending on the strength of, depending on what you're actually doing in the remodel, you're going to be combining every single trade. Electrical work, to move outlets or to add outlets in the bathroom. You're going to be doing plumbing, so you're going to be ripping out, if you're doing complete bathroom gut like we did at house number 2, we took out the tub, we took out the shower, we did demo, I filled in a window, bath fan as well. So you're combining electrical, you're doing paint, you're doing drywall, you're doing plumbing, you're setting a new tub, you're doing a tub surround, you're doing new flooring, you're doing trim. You're kind of mixing every single trade together, from electrical to finished carpentry to painting to plumbing. When you can mix all of your trades together, I think that's when you're kind of getting to that next level per se. And I've only been doing this for a year, so I'm not a pro by any means. But after I did that, that's when I opened my eyes and I went, whoa, okay, I could probably do this more and to doing this potentially full time like I am right now, because I was able to do that all on my own, right? For the most part. So yeah.
All right. Well, do you have maybe one tip of advice that you would share with anyone that's considering becoming a real estate investor?
Yeah. I think the one tip of advice I would give is take a baby step into this world and don't just jump into it, dive into it full, right? Because what's going to happen is maybe you get inspired by a couple of videos or podcasts that you watch, or you listen to other resources that we'll talk about, read some books, and you're interested in this world. Take one small baby step, whether that's reading the next book, whether it's, scheduling a coffee chat with Amber or whatever to talk about real estate investing, or me. Take one small step, because if you take one small step, you might find yourself, opening your mind up and being like, whoa, this is an area I'm really interested in. Or you can close the door on this opportunity and instead invest in another avenue, right? I think, we're young and we've been fortunate to get into this world, pretty early. But, there are people that could succeed in this area and they might not have the confidence to get into it because they are not confident to take that next step, right? Yeah. So whatever that small next baby step is, I would say do that sooner than later.
For sure. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thanks so much for joining me today. Thank you for your time. I know you are very busy working on this house, so I'm glad we could steal a little bit of time from you to share with our listeners today. Hey, thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. This is our very first episode, so we can't wait to hear what you think about it. And we can't wait to see you next time and when we have our newest episode of the Next Gen Real Estate Podcast. Hey, if you could do us a favor and like and subscribe, leave us a comment below. We'd really appreciate your feedback. Also, let us know, what do you want to hear about on our podcast? We're going to be interviewing all different types of people in the real estate industry. So whether you want to hear from an attorney, a lender, hey, maybe a buyer or a seller that we've helped in the past, or from a professional interior designer, whatever you want to hear, let us know in the comments below, and we can't wait to see you next time.